Hi, I'm Julia Collin Davison from America's Test Kitchen and Cook's Country TV shows. But today we're cooking in my house and I'm going to show you my favorite fall dinner that I make at least every other week because it's my husband's favorite and the leftovers go really fast for sandwiches and pot pies. And what I'm making is a turkey breast en cocotte. So it's just the breast, and en cocotte means you're cooking it in a heavy pot so that the meat stays good and juicy. And these are all the ingredients you need to make this entire dish, including the gravy, because all the drippings are in the pot, which is perfect for making a big load of gravy. All right, to get started, I'm gonna set this turkey breast aside while I just prep a few vegetables. And we're just gonna use a combination of carrots, onion, and celery, classic combination known as mirepoix. And this is for the pot because this will make great gravy. So I'm just cutting these into nice big chunks. Don't have to be precise here because we're gonna strain these out at the end. It's one rib of celery. Here's one nice big carrot. And you know, I was taught in culinary school to always cut the carrot lengthwise to expose the core. That way you get more color and flavor. Now, mind you, I've never tested that. I have no idea if it's true, but I still do it to this day. And now for the onion. Again, we don't need a nice dice. It can just be nice rough chunks. Then cut off the tip end, cut through the root, peel it back. Peel back that outer layer, and I've left that root end intact on the back side right there because that's going to hold all the layers together while you cut so they don't go flying all over the counter. Also notice I like to call this my trash bowl. Very often I have to say it's a dog bowl because I have a lot of dog bowls around here, but it's just for all the vegetable scraps so that you can either compost them or put them down your disposal, but it keeps your cutting board nice and clean. All right, again, nice big chunks. I go right down to the root. I don't like to waste anything. Ooh, it's a potent onion. I'm gonna start crying in a minute. Let's get that into the pot. All right, last but not least, I'm going to have just 6 garlic cloves. What I'm gonna do is cut off the root ends, and then I'm just gonna smash them just to get rid of the papery outsides, and they're just gonna go into the pot smashed. Just gonna use the flat of the knife to smash the cloves. And of course, again, this loosens the paper. All right, and then the skins just fall away from the garlic. All right, and that is it for veg prep. In addition to those vegetables, I'm gonna add a bay leaf and a couple sprigs of fresh thyme. All right, so now let's head over to the pot and get things going. Into the pot, I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of olive oil. You don't wanna use your nice olive oil here, just your cooking olive oil. We're gonna heat that up till it's shimmering, and while that heats up, we're gonna prep the big guy, the turkey. And if you notice, I did my veg prep first, and then I'm doing the turkey prep. That just keeps the cutting board nice and clean. All right, so now I have these, which are really good poultry shears. And if you don't have a pair, time to invest. They're not that expensive, but they're incredibly sharp, so they go through chicken and turkey bones in a snap. So what I'm gonna do, this is a 6 or 7 pound bone-in turkey breast, and I'm gonna cut off some of the extra bones along the side just to help it fit in the pot a bit better. And there's no meat here, it's just bones. You can go right up the side to that joint up here. All right, and again, that just makes it easier to fit into the pot. Now flip this over, and these little bits, if you don't cook a lot of turkey or make stock a lot, you can put these right in the pot with all the vegetables and it'll make a bit of a deeper tasting gravy. But I like to put them in bags, I keep them in the freezer, and when I have a handful, I make a nice big batch of turkey broth that I then make for gravy. So now I'm just gonna trim off some of this extra skin and extra fat. That looks pretty good. All right, I'm gonna season it with salt and pepper. Now, I pre-measured the salt and pepper because I knew my hands would be covered in turkey. So if you do this a lot, it's just handy. Helps keep your salt and pepper grinders nice and clean if you pre-mix. And I use probably a 3-to-1 ratio of kosher salt to fresh ground pepper. All right, so that's heating up. This is all ready for the pot. I'm gonna wash my hands and we can get cooking. The oil is heating up over medium and high heat, and I see it's just starting to shimmer, which is the perfect time to add the turkey and get it a little brown. We're gonna brown it on the skin side. That makes the turkey look a little better, but also, and more importantly, it creates some fond in the bottom of the pot, which is gonna be key for making the gravy. So into the pot the turkey goes. And I'm gonna roll it around to make sure, again, it gets really nice and brown on all sides. And I'm gonna add the vegetables just around the turkey while it browns. Last but not least, a bay leaf and a few sprigs of thyme. Again, just add nice fragrant flavor to the gravy. So we're gonna let this brown for 8 to 12 minutes, again, rolling it around so it gets browned on all sides. Oh, this turkey is beautiful. Just a little bit of browning on the top and a lot in the pan. And so now's the magic trick. Now we're not gonna roast this turkey in the pot with the lid on. I'm gonna put a piece of foil over the mouth of the pot. That just helps ensure a really nice seal. So foil over the top, put the lid on, and then this is gonna go into a very low oven, 250 degrees for about an hour and a half. And it's that low, slow roasting that will ensure the breast meat is super juicy and tender. Now, the skin's gonna be a little flabby and it's not gonna be much of a looker, but that's okay in my book because the meat is so good. All right, so lowest rack, 250 degree oven. And we'll check that in about an hour and a half. We're looking for an internal temperature in the thickest part of the breast to register between 160 and 165 degrees. All right, so it's been about an hour and a half and it's time to temp the turkey. Oh, it smells like Thanksgiving already. Woo. Oh, she's a beaut. Now we're going to take the temperature in the thickest part of the breast, and again we're looking for a temperature between 160 and 165. 162, that's perfect. So time to get the turkey out of the pot, again using the two-tong method. Oh. Now as I said before, it's not much of a looker at this point. The skin's a little flabby, but the meat on the inside is so moist that I don't care about the skin on this particular turkey breast. So, I'm going to cover this with foil, let it rest, while we finish the gravy in the pot, which is pure magic. Now there's a lot of liquid in here, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna bring it to a simmer, cook that liquid down so we get that nice turkey fat, and then we'll make a roux and finish the gravy. This liquid has been simmering for about 15 minutes and it's almost all nearly evaporated. There's just a little thick liquid and lots of that turkey fat, which is perfect because now we're gonna add the flour, and the flour and fat will mix together and make a roux. So this is a 1/4 cup of all-purpose flour, and cook that for a few minutes before we add the broth. That flour has cooked for a few minutes. Now it's time to add the broth, and this is 4 cups of low-sodium chicken broth. You want to add a little bit in, whisk out those lumps. A little goes a long way at the beginning. All right, then you can slowly add the rest of it, and then we're going to bring this to a simmer, let it cook for about 10-15 minutes, and that is how you make gravy. That gravy is simmering away, and it's time to carve our turkey breast while the gravy finishes. Ooh, she's looking pretty good. Now, I let this rest on a carving board so it has this channel to collect the juices. I'm just gonna pour this back into the gravy because that is good flavor we don't want to lose. Oh, yes, yes. Free flavor. All right, now I'm gonna move the turkey breast to a big cutting board because I like to have a lot of room when I'm carving. And it's hot. There is no shame in your game if you grab a towel to protect your hand because turkey's hot. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut down the center. There's that center breastbone with a sharp knife. And then once you hit the bone, you wanna turn your knife slightly sideways to follow the shape of the breastbone. And this is where I like to use a towel because this is hot, hot, hot. And you can see that lobe of meat comes right off. We're gonna repeat that on the other side. Cut down to the bone. And sometimes I like to spin the turkey around just so that I have a much easier time seeing into the inside. And then once you get down to the bone, you can kind of start to pry it open and look in there and follow that breastbone. All right, pretty good. This is definitely worth saving. That is for a really good turkey soup later, so we'll set that aside. Now I just straight up like to pull that flabby skin off, and then you can easily just slice it into nice slices. All right, I'll cover this and keep it warm until we finish the gravy. The gravy has been simmering for about 15 minutes and it looks beautiful, it smells beautiful. Now I'm simply gonna strain it through a fine mesh strainer into a nice big liquid measuring cup. I love gravy facials. good for the skin. All right, I'm gonna take a rubber spatula. Now, if ever you're straining a soup or a broth and it's on the thick side like this and it's not going through the strainer, what you do is you take a rubber spatula, you just scrape the solids on the inside against the bottom of the strainer, and it just helps the gravy go through. Now at this point, you could obviously put the gravy into something pretty like a gravy boat, but in my house, we just pour it right out of the Pyrex. Oh, it's delicious. Does need a little salt and a little pepper. It's more than a little salt. It needs a lot of salt. But that's why you use low sodium chicken broth. You can add the salt to taste at the end, but some of those broths are really salty, so. Oh, that's it. And of course, right before serving, you gotta drizzle the gravy all down every piece of turkey so that it's all smothered. Isn't that gravy beautiful? Oh. Obviously, you could doctor this up to look really pretty if it was an occasion, but let me dive right in. This piece looks like my piece, right there. Every time I love it. It's so tender and such a clean flavor. The gravy is just the best. So there you have it, turkey breast and cocotte with pan gravy. I hope you found this recipe helpful. You can find the details of this recipe on our website at americastestkitchen.com.